All right, welcome back, folks. Today we will go over how to create a simple dialogue for your project. Now, the dialogue I'm going to show you today is, as I mentioned, the very simple form of dialogue. However, you can build upon it and expand it into your project. Now, first thing first, let's create a variable that we will be using for our dialogue. So go to Project Manager, Global Variables, add a variable, and we are going to call this variable text speed scroll. And I will show you what this variable is for in the later part of the video. Click apply. Now let's create some character that our main character will talk to. So add a new object, sprite, call it person, create with Piscal. We will draw a simple doodle. Okay, click save and click apply. Now let's drag our person right over here. Next, let's create the actual dialogue outline. So add a new object, sprite, we call it dialogue background, create with Piscal. Let's say it will be, well, let's make it black. That will make a really light fill like this. Click save. And you can create whatever dialogue outline you want. You can even do it in Paint and then just paste it in here. But we'll just do it like that. Stretch it out like this. Okay. Then next we are going to create a text called dialogue. And this is fine. Click OK. Let's drag it over here. So this will be our actual dialogue running. By the way, I'm currently putting that on base layer. You can create a separate layer called dialogue. It really depends on your project. For my project, the base layer will work. We'll drag it out like this. Next, we are going to create a new object, text. We're going to call it options. So, and we'll do text, so we can actually see the options. We'll drag it out like this. And finally, we're going to create another text called chat. And we say press F. And we're going to put it like that. So what we are going to do is, as our main character walks toward our person, when we reach certain distance, I want this press F text to appear. After it appears, and you click F while you're at this distance, I want this dialog background to appear, and then the dialog text to run. And then when the dialog text run is finished, we'll be presented with options, for example, yes or no, or whatever the options are for your dialog. Okay? Now to do that, let's go to our events. Let's create a new event group called dialog. Then we'll do Shift D several times. Okay. So first of all, we will say at the beginning of the game, so at the beginning of the scene, we want to do a few things. First, we want to load our dialog from a JSON file. And so we don't have a JSON file right now, so we are going to create it with Yarn. And this is where you create the dialog. So let's double click here. Let's call this first and delete this, and the text will be, let's say, Oh, hi. How are you? And then we're going to put the answers. So if you click on this button right here, we're going to delete this answer here. We're just going to say good. We're going to delete this gray area. So we only need the blue brackets. So before this line, we're going to say good. That's your option that you're going to see. And then when you click on it, it will teleport you to the next stage of the dialog. So we are going to say good. This can be whatever. And then we're going to copy and paste it. And we're going to say it's bad. And this is going to be bad. Now when we exit, as you can see here, we have two options now. Good and bad. So in good, we're going to say that is great. And then our dialog will be done. In bad, we're going to say sucks. Okay, so when we launch our dialog, we're going to be presented with a text. Oh, hi, how are you? And then we will be given options, good or it's bad. And depends on what we select, we will be presented with a different type of dialog. And then at this point, there are no options, so we can finish the dialog. Now, if we want to talk to the person again, we'll have to create a new branch. So right click, double click, call second, and say, how is it better now? And then enter choices. We're going to say, nope. This is going to be nope. Or we're going to say Control C, Control V. We're going to say yes. And this will be yes. Then we exit out. And again, we're presented with a choice. So in the nope, we're going to say this sucks. And with yes, we'll say this is great. Okay. And this is our simple dialog. Now, as you can see here, our options, our responses to different questions are similar. So instead of creating this new branch, we can actually just link these answers back to these ones. To do it, let's delete these guys. And here in the nope, we're gonna say bad, and with the yes, we're gonna select good. So this is gonna be bad, and this will be good. And as you can see here, they are linked back to our options. Okay, so let's click save, click OK. So now our dialog will be loaded at the start of the scene. Now, next action is we're going to hide a few things. So we're going to hide, let's see, we're going to hide options. Let's Control C, Control V this a few times. We're going to hide chat. We're going to hide dialog background and the dialog itself. I think that's it. Now, let's go back to our level. There's one more variable we have to create, and this variable will actually control our dialog. So we are going to say this variable is dialog state number 0. That's fine. Go back to our level events. So here we want to change this variable. Where are you? Dialog state, and you want to set it to 0. And the reason why we want to do it is because if you have it in a few different levels, we don't want to start this scene with a dialog state of, let's say, 2 or 3 or whatever the number is. So we just want to set it to 0. Okay. So this is basically a setup. So if we were to go back to our level and we click preview, we're not going to see anything here. Okay. This is some crazy stuff going on here. Anyway, let's close it. Now next step is to actually start the dialogue. So let's create a comment here. We'll say start dialogue. This comment doesn't affect your code. It's just if your code is too long, this kind of helps you organize it and view it better. So what we want to say is when there's a distance between two objects of let's see, main character and person, and the distance is, let's say, 125 pixels. So when the distance between person and the main character is 125 pixels and the dialogue is not running, so invert the condition, so the dialogue is not running, we want to show chat. Okay. So basically, when we approach our person, we want to see this chat pop up. And then let's copy this and paste it, delete this, and then right click and invert. So when the distance is over 125 pixels, we want to hide chat. So just double click on it and choose hide. So basically when we leave the distance, when we leave the person, walk away, the chat text disappears. Okay. Now let's add new conditions. So let's again copy this and paste it, delete this. So when the distance of our main character to the person is below 125 pixels, we're gonna see the chat, which will say press F. And then we want to make sure that the variable of dialog state is set to 0. So it's we never started this dialog basically. And the key is pressed, and the key is F. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to hide chat. So add action, hide chat. Right. So because we approach the person, we see the chat that says press F. We press the F. Now we need to hide that chat. Then we're going to show dialog. Then we copy paste this and dialog background. Okay. Then let's see, we are going to start the dialog. So start dialog from branch, and the branch name is first. Make sure you have the double quotes here. Click OK. So we want to start the dialog from branch first because that's what we name it. Then we want to start a timer for the text scroll. So start or reset the timer. And the timer name is, let's say, scroll text. The timer name doesn't really matter. You just want to be consistent. Okay. Click OK. Also, when we do talk to this person, we want to make sure we don't just like run away and stop the dialogue. So we want to stop the platformer behavior of our character. So, cannot spell today. Behavior of the main character. The behavior is platformer object, and we want to deactivate the behavior. Correct. Okay. Then we want to wait 1 second, and we want to change this variable. Control C, right click and paste. And we want to change this variable to 1. Okay. So basically when our main character talks to the person and we're below 125 pixels, the variable is 0, meaning we didn't run the text yet. We want to press the F key. We want to hide the prompt that says press F key. We want to display the dialog background and the dialog. We want to start the dialog from the first dialog branch. We want to start the scroll text timer. We want to disable movement of our main character. And we want to wait a second and then change the dialog state to 1. Okay. Now we are going to duplicate this and paste it here, and then we're going to modify it for when we want to talk to this person the second time. So again, the distance is the same. The variable dialog state is going to be 0. F key is pressed, and this time we are going to say dialog is not running. So dialog is running, invert, click OK. We are going to hide the chat. We're going to display the same thing. We're going to start the dialog this time from the second. We will start the scroll timer. We deactivate the behavior. We wait 1 second, and then we change the dialog state to 3 this time. Okay, so now we set up our start dialog function. So let's Control C, Control V. Now we're going to say end dialog. How do we end the dialog? Again, we're going to say there's a distance between two objects, main and person, and it's the same distance of 125 pixels. We want to say that when the key is pressed, like F, we want to finish the dialog, but we need to create an OR statement, meaning that, as you can see here, we start the dialog and our variable is 0, and then we change the variable to 1, and when we do the second time, we change the variable to 3. So basically, when our variable is 1 or 3, we want to finish the dialog, right? Because we already done with the dialog, we no longer need it. So let's Control C, right click and paste right underneath. So we want to say when the variable dialog state is 1, Control C, Control V, or 3, we want to end the dialog. So to do it, we're going to say hide dialog, dialog background, and then options, and options. Then stop dialog. There you go. Stop running dialog. Then we want to activate the behavior of our main character, right? Because we finished the chat, so now we can move around. So we want to activate the behavior. We want to wait 1 second, and then we want to change the variable, Control C, right click and paste to 2. So as you can see here, now we have a loop, right? We start the dialog at 0, we change it to 1. Then when it's 1 and we want to finish it, we just have to press the F key again. And then the dialog will be changed to 2, which will, when we want to start the dialog second time, and our variable is 2, we'll change it to 3. And when it's 3, we can finish the dialog by pressing the F key button again, and it will be changed back to 2. And so we have this little loop over here, right? Because we talked the first time, and now we're talking to it the second time. So we finished the end dialog. So now let's talk about how to run dialogues. Running a dialog. So here we're going to add a condition. We're going to say the dialog dialog line type is text, right? Because, well, it's a text. And we're going to create a sub-event. So select and Shift D. So add condition. We're going to say the timer, the value of a scene timer. Scroll text. Here we need an expression, so click over here, go variables, arrays and structures, first number child, look for text speed scroll, click apply, and click OK. And then we are going to add another one, so select and Shift D. This condition we're going to say clipped text has completed scrolling. Okay, so when the dialog line is text, we want to change text value of the dialog. And here we'll need an expression. So click this button, type dialog, and choose this option. Get dialog line text clipped. Click OK. All right, now when the timer is over this variable, we're going to say scroll clipped text. Click OK. And then we're going to start, reset, scene timer, scroll text. Click OK. And then when the text is completed scrolling, we're going to go to next dialog line and click OK. All right. And so that's how we're setting up our dialog to run. Basically, whatever text you type in your dialog in the yarn, it will just keep scrolling. Okay, until it's over. Now let's copy this. Let's paste it here. So this one will be choosing options. As I mentioned, we're going to have a few options for our dialog. So here we're going to say the dialog line is text. Click OK. We want to show options. Okay. Then we're gonna do Shift D. So how do we select an option? Well, we can do a variety of different ways. Let's just do the arrow buttons. So we're going to say key pressed, up. So up key pressed. We're going to select option. At index index 0. And then we're going to copy this and paste it a couple times. And then when down key is pressed, will be option 1. And when return, meaning enter key is pressed, we want to confirm the option. Confirm selected option. So basically we use up and down keys to go up and down, and then we'll use the enter key or return key to confirm the selected option. And then after our selected option is changed, we want to change text of options. Here we can just type dialog tree vertical options. Here we go. And here we can just type this. And what this does, you will see, it will basically put a little arrow next to the options so we can select it. Click OK. And then one more thing here, we're going to say the dialog line is not options. You want to hide options. All right, well, that was a lot of code. So let's just double check it really quick. So at the beginning of scene, we are loading the dialog. We are hiding all these dialog boxes. We set the variable to 0. We take care of our distances to hide or show the chat. We'll launch the chat. If the distance is appropriate, the dialog state is 0 or 2. F key is pressed, dialog is running or not running. Okay. Okay, looks good. Oh, actually here, change that to options. Okay. Okay, let's go back and let's preview. All right, so as we approach, our press F prompt shows up. Let's press F. Oh, hi, how are you? Good. or it's bad, we use arrow keys, and then let's say good, choose enter. This is great. All right, dialog is over, press F, dialog is finished. We cannot move. Uh-oh, let's double check. Oh, behavior. We need to enable behavior. Yeah, let's close this. Let's preview again. Press F. There we go, good or bad, enter, finish. There we go, come second time. Is this better now? Yes, that's great. F. And we're done. All right, folks. I hope this was helpful. It is a rather long video. If you have any questions or if you have any problems, let me know and I will try to help you. All right, see you in the next video.